Tori, and you are tuning into Through Our Lenses. Today, we are discussing the weight, and I brought along two of my good girlfriends who are also on the journey of loving themselves, finding their purpose, and strengthening their relationship with God. So come along for the ride.
So, Tori, tell me about your dating life. How has that been?
My dating life, it has been a process with a capital P. I've really only had like maybe two real boyfriends or like serious relationships, but I will say there was one in particular that changed my perspective on dating life completely. There was a gentleman that I started dating in college, and we were dating after college, and he was very charismatic. He was very sweet and gentle with me, and I fell in love with like that charm. Of course, there were as we started to date and really get to know each other, there were little tad bits, I would say, that God was kind of saying, maybe this is the person for you. But I think at that time, I yearned to have companionship. I yearned to have that love that you see on TV and that you see on social media. I feel like social media kind of paints this unrealistic picture, but in our minds, we want that. And so me and this gentleman, we were, like I said, we were dating, things were going good, and then I just feel like my world was turned upside down when I received an email from someone who displayed some messages that he had sent to someone else, and then some more graphic things that were sent to me in the email, and I think that really, like, that shattered me. And I just remember just feeling so hurt, you know. I don't know, it was just unexpected, and I live with this person, and sometimes that's another thing, you know, when I've learned, you know, I grew up in church, and so I think that was also kind of hard when things exploded, because I went against what my parents believed, what I believed, but, you know, when you're in love, you do kind of dumb things, you do, and I ended up living, you know, shacking up, you know, so just plain and simple. And when you do that before marriage, you have to be prepared for what's coming, because you see everything. Nothing is really hidden from you. Like I said, there were signs, but I kind of, you know, when you get that hunch in your stomach, hey, something's not right. But for me, I'm like, maybe you question yourself. And when that evidence was plain and simple, that broke me down. It broke me down. And so, you know, we call it quits, and then after a few years later, we're kind of doing this off and on thing. But I think for me, I held on to it too long. And I don't know if it was necessarily that I believed in the relationship, or was it the fact that I had put so much time and so much effort into something, and I'm like, I'd be damned if somebody else is gonna reap my benefits, you know. And but what I realized is that, you know, people have seasons in your life, and not everybody is going to move into the next season. And I think, you know, during our period of kind of going back and forth, something else came up, and it was kind of like one of those things, and then again, plain and simple. So here is additional evidence to show you that this is just not someone for you. And I just remember one night being in my bedroom and just bawling. You know, that feeling that you get when you're crying so much, it's trying to get a breath in between. It was heartbreaking. And I remember picking up the phone and calling my mom, and you know, and she was so quiet, and she's like, I'm here for you, baby girl. And then, you know, it gets real. You know, I understand that you're sad and that you're heartbroken, and my heart cries out for you, but you knew these things, and you chose to to go back. So it's like, you can't point the blame on somebody else. Like, you have to own it, that you walked into this toxic situation and that you kept going back to it. So obviously you like it. And I'm like, no, I don't. I promise I don't. But like I said, it was kind of that just in your face moment. And I had to take some time to just really heal from that. And in my time of just solitude, I started to learn more about why I was doing the things that I was doing, making the choices that I was making. And one thing that I feel God revealed to me is that I had some unresolved issues. One being the fact that my dad didn't grow up in the house with me. So I think not having my dad there and getting that validation or even confirmation that I needed as from a daughter to a father to a daughter relationship, I was searching for that within my relationship. And maybe I was putting more on him than I was asking him to fulfill something that he wasn't designed to fulfill. And that was that void. As well as I feel like God revealed that I had some low self-esteem issues. Growing up, I was always this really tiny girl, real stick-like. People would always say, you're an adult, but you have like the body of like a 12-year-old. And so I think for me, that stuck with me. And here you got somebody who compliments you and makes you feel good about yourself. But I had to realize I had to feel good about myself. I had to love myself and know that I am enough. And so I remember sitting in a session with my life coach, and she's like, I need you to put some affirmations on your mirror. And 3 of those affirmations was, I am strong, I am smart, and I am worthy. And when moments I felt like I didn't feel that necessarily, just repeating that. And the more you repeat it, the more it sticks with you, and more you start to believe what God says about you, and that you are more than enough, and that He will give you what your heart desires, but you've got to do your part as well. And so, utilizing my life coach and doing my daily affirmations and reading, I read a lot, and I found an amazing Christian author, Lisa Turkhurst, who was phenomenal in sharing her stories. And I don't know, it just kind of felt like she was a good friend. Even though I'm like reading this book, it's like it was so relatable, because her story, parts of her story were my stories, and how she was a believer who relied on the Bible. And I'm learning that, dude, like seriously, if you feel like the Bible is not for you, ain't wrong. Like, everything that you're experiencing now, it's in the Bible. Like, when you really take time to read the stories and the things that you're dealing with, they've been there, done that. Like, your stuff it's like old news. So I think the two that kind of helped me, I'm like, oh, this is in the Bible? Okay. So it really helped me grow spiritually, and really strengthen my relationship with God, and finding my purpose, and which is part of this is, my purpose, doing this podcast. So I think in hindsight, yes, it was hard. Yes, it was a period of my life that I will never forget. And I will never forget that relationship. But most importantly, it taught me so much. And for so many years, I felt like I was stagnant in my personal life. And I used work and accolades and being involved in all these other organizations to really cover up the fact that I wasn't happy with myself. And now I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I'm balanced on both sides, professionally and personally. And so I think, like I said, it was a rough period of time in my life, but things happen for a reason, and I am forever grateful for those lessons, because I am better because of them.
Hi everyone, my name is Brittany and I'm 31. I'm originally from Houston.
So Brittany, how has dating life been for you?
Where can I start? It's been highs and lows and a bunch of in-betweens. But I would say overall, dating life has really helped me to figure out who I am. It's been a time for me to really explore and for me to pay attention and figure out why I was attracting certain people and kind of why I entertained certain people. I know for a long time I felt like I got people who might have been good on paper. They met a whole bunch of stuff on checklists, but then when it really came down to it, the character part was just not there. And so that's why at this point I'm single. I am just waiting for God to send the right person my way and just really trying to discern if this is a person that's supposed to be in my life, and praying right away, really, when I meet somebody, Lord, is this somebody that I should continue with? Is this somebody I should not continue with? And one thing I will say about that is he generally will answer your question pretty quickly.
Is there a particular incident that really caused you to stop doing what you were doing in your dating life?
Definitely. I think with this particular incident in person, it was like God had been tapping me and tapping me and tapping me. And it wasn't until basically he like TKO'd me with this person for me to stop and realize, like, you just need to take a break. You need to let me be the one who's in control of this, and you're trying to make something happen and you're trying to make something work. And after dealing with this person, I really realized that it was not so much that I liked the person, that I was so into him and that he was so great. It was me trying to find that validation. Because when I met this person, I was at a place in my life where I was like, okay, I'm ready to get serious. I'm ready to make it work. You know, my relationships, they hadn't been successful in the past, but this one I'm going to really try to make stick, and I'm going to try to make it work. And I felt like I really tried genuinely, but I wasn't getting the same effort from that person. So in hindsight, I'm glad that things worked out the way they did, because it helped me to know that, for one, I was enough. I didn't need any validation. I was already validated. And it really just catapulted me into a closer relationship with God, because it was one of those situations where you had it soul tie and you just have to break it, you know, and you have to press into God and lean forward into him and help him to reveal some things, ask him to reveal things to you. And he revealed things in me that I hadn't even realized, things from my childhood and why I was attracted to this person. And once like a light was shined on those particular things, it helped me to really start working on them. And so now I am single. I'm waiting for the right person, but I'm walking out my purpose.
So how has dating life been?
Well, it's been a journey of ups and downs, literally like a roller coaster. There are moments when there are highs, and there are moments when there are extreme lows. There are moments when it's just twisty, shaky, crazy. It's been a lot. I will say that among all like dating and actual committed relationships, I've been in 2 committed relationships, and I've dated a lot in between. And I think that my dating in between was kind of like fluff, because I am a career-oriented person. So for me, I looked at it as I didn't need the distractions when it came to me working. So I was fine with not being in anything serious. But on my move to Houston, I did meet someone, and I thought that that relationship that I had with the person was actually going to turn into something, and unfortunately, it didn't. The one pivotal thing that made me realize that we were honestly like up, off, and on. I was very hesitant in certain areas. His friends would be like, oh, he's crazy for not stepping it up. Like, what does, you know, like all that kind of stuff. And so a lot of it made me feel like, okay, let me question you. What's going on, and why aren't we moving forward? And it was like, I wouldn't get a straightforward answer. I would get like answers around the answer. And so one thing that stood out was, hey, I got a friend request on our beloved Instagram. And, you know, I looked at it, and being new to this area, I was like, I don't know if I've even met this person before, because this person's name had something about being in Houston. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I met this person in passing, because I can literally count the number of people I know in this area. And then it just opened a can of worms and made me realize that his inability to be able to give me a direct answer as to why we cannot move into something was for a reason. And as I would pull myself away, he would pull me back in. And I would pull myself away and he would pull me back in. I would push him away, he'd pull me. So at a point, I was just like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I feel like being in a relationship with you means I have to be in a relationship with her. And it is draining. And it's undeserving. And no female should feel that way. And seeing where I was at that point, I realized that I need purposeful dating. And I need to know that if I'm going to spend my time with someone, if I'm going to get to know someone, that it's purposeful, it's actually going towards a relationship, maybe marriage, maybe family, it's going towards something and not a placeholder for the moment. I felt like that's really what I was in. And, to have the girl request me and then make several fake profiles and reach out to mutual friends of mine, I'm like, I can't deal with this type of drama. It is entirely unhealthy. And whatever he is feeding, or he was feeding to her at the time, made her feel like it was necessary for her to take those moves. And I'm like, listen, Maya, you need to check yourself, because you cannot be with someone that you question. And so I needed to step away. I needed to recharge myself, because when I had highs, I was happy. My friends knew I was happy. I was glowing. But when I was running into situations with him, my friends would see that I'm stressed out. I'm not myself. I don't reach out. I close in. And so I honestly turned in myself to Freedom, which is offered through my church. And I met with very strong women. Natalie, shout out to you. Ashley, shout out to you. And Gabby, thank you so much for being my prayer warriors. But, I reached out to them and I needed to figure out myself. I needed to, granted, it was hard to close the door, but I closed the door. And I think the major reason why I turned to this group was to make sure that I keep that door shut. What was a very big lesson learner to me in this situation is, as a female, we should not feel like we have to fix any situation. When you're dealing with emotions, when you're dealing with character, it cannot be fixed. We need to understand that when someone is displaying something, it's either we're going to be okay with it or we're going to walk away from it. And I think that when I was in that situation, I just kept saying, well, if I do this, or if I do that, or if I do this, maybe it's going to fix the situation. And that was not a healthy approach, because I was losing myself in the process of trying to fix something that shouldn't have been fixed. Pastor Michael Todd, shout out to you. When he was in Houston, there was one thing that he said that really stuck out with me, which is, have you ever been in a situation where things are just not working out? And he's like, God is looking at you like, I've been left that situation. Why are you still trying to fix it? I am not there. So why are you there? And so when he said that, I was like, okay, he's not in this situation. And there's no one that God will ever bring to you that is going to stress you out, that is going to make you question yourself, that's going to make you even, no shade, but do fake profiles and do all kinds of unnecessary stuff. If God brings you the right person, you are going to feel secure no matter what. You are going to love yourself. You are going to know that you're in a deserving area. You're going to flourish. But when you're with someone that is undeserving, it puts you in this dark, low place, because you're always on edge. You're not sure if they're checking you out or checking someone else out. And I'm like, you know what? I can't be in that type of stress. And so, after going through Freedom, after listening to several podcasts, after trying to pour back into myself, I realized that the only way I can find true happiness is if I'm truly happy. And the only way that I can find myself in a situation that I'm deserving of means the moment I go in, I'm going to have to just say, hey, I know I'm a relationship girl, because I really am. The dating thing, it was fun getting to know people, but at this point, if it's not purposeful, if it's not going anywhere, I can't exert any more energy into it. And I also had to check myself by listening and working on my own discernment. You know, like as I'm praying, when I meet people, I'm asking God, please, you know, is this person supposed to be in my life? Is this just a season thing? How far should I take this? You know, where do I stand with this? What should I do? And after praying and getting certain feelings and emotions about certain things, I just make sure I act on it, you know? And so in as much as that situation that I was in was, I know that yes, it's undeserving, but it was very bittersweet, but it was a lesson learner to myself to make me realize that when God sends someone to you, he's not going to send you someone that's uncertain. He's not going to send you someone who's going to give you problems. He's not going to send you someone that has a lot of baggage that you're going to have to figure out and fix, or you're going to have to deal with, or you're going to have to like say, okay, well, you know what? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You wrap that up and then I'm going to wait. He's not going to send, he's going to send someone who is entirely ready to move and take the steps that you're ready to take in life. And so, yeah, right now I am not dating, but I am willing to. But, you know, that situation definitely made me realize that internal happiness is very important. Keeping God by my side is extremely important, and just feeding myself with good information, with good advice from good friends that have either gone through similar situations or that understand my situation to give me good advice is what has helped me a lot.
All right, ladies. So we have clearly been through some stuff. You know, I feel like we've had our season where we really have made some mistakes. It's been some learning, some healing, but I feel like we are all in a good place now.
Yeah. I agree.
So I want to take us back a little bit, because we've, like I said, we've been there, we've done our healing, we're in a better place. So what have y'all been doing to stay in a good place? Like, how do we not go back to our old ways, our old habits?
Okay, you want to take this started up?
Okay. Well, for one, I say knowing your standards and, you know, just making sure you have them written down. And if they don't meet them, as soon as you see that they're not going to meet them, it's time to let it go. Don't stick around too long. Give too many chances with that. But also, really for me, like, just staying focused. I feel like I'm truly walking in my purpose, and that has helped me a lot. So I don't spend my days, woe is me, worrying about this. Like, yes, I have my days when I want it to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I'm ready to be with somebody, because I, too, have the desire to be married one day and have children. But I'm basically focused on my purpose and enjoying my hobbies and traveling and just trying to live my life.
You said standards, so what are your top, like, 3 things that you're looking for?
I would say, as far as like my top 3 things, you have to love God. You have to love him even more than me, okay? Because every relationship you have is going to flow from that, the way you love God and your relationship with him. I need a man that is ambitious. Also, really one that respects me. As I've dated, you just kind of realize, like, you can keep your clothes on and dress properly and act classy and so on and so forth. But you can still encounter people that truly don't value and respect you.
Oh, yeah.
And I need to know that the respect is there.
Right. I want to piggyback on the love God aspect, because that's actually my number 1 as well. Mm-hmm. And what I realized is, especially like in this dating scene, I feel people are like, oh, I'm spiritual, or I go to church, but I go to church. There's a difference between going to church and having a relationship with God. Is this somebody that you actively seek out, you spend time with him, and you solely get your guidance from him? Because what I've learned, or what I'm learning when I'm interacting with my friends who are married, is that what keeps them married or has helped them through rough times is that their husband loves God. Mm-hmm. So when the love aspect doesn't necessarily feel like it's there, mm-hmm. when I don't necessarily like you, as a wife, you have to, your husband governs the household. Mm-hmm. He leads. So I need to know that who you get your counsel from is Jesus Christ, right. And it's not you.
Right.
You know, so there should be somebody governing your husband as he governs the family. And so that's why it is so important that relationship aspect is there with God. And then to kind of pick it back for me, like, especially when it comes to old flings and things, I will say, one, when you've been hurt so bad, it's just like, for me, I couldn't get any lower, so I think that really helped me. But two, so one of my good friends actually sent me this book, and I'm going over and get it. And it is called The People Factor by Van Moody. When I tell y'all, anything you want to know about relationships, understanding relationships, it's here. And what I love about it is it uses biblical principles to explain his positions on certain relationships in your life. And so I feel like this book has really helped me understand and be okay with the fact that not everybody's going to be there through your entire life, through this journey, but that God strategically places people in your life. And sometimes there's parts, whatever season you're in, where you're going to have to reposition those relationships. So just good book for learning. And then two, like, podcast. I know you and I have been passing around Tony Gaskins. Shout out to Tony Gaskins. Tony. You've been good to us.
Look forward to his daily videos.
Yes.
I mean, Heather Lindsay, RC Blake.
Yes.
Sarah J. Swapper. So many people.
Oh, Stefan. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong.
Oh, yes.
Labossiere?
Labossiere.
AKA Stefan Speaks.
Yes,
Stefan,
he's
yes.
good.
Yes.
What about you, Maya?
I do listen to a lot of Mike Todd. I do listen to Pastor Jeremy, TD Jakes.
Oh, TD, yes.
So yes, I do try to get a lot of advice from people that have been through things that are actually transparent enough to actually show what they've been through, for me to know that, okay, not everybody's path of love is perfect.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So
wait, one more.
Go
Redefine TV with Tanisha and Jeremy Flowers.
Okay.
And they're Houston based too.
Yes. No, they're good.
They're really good too.
Shout out to Instagram, because Instagram I wouldn't know some of these people went for Instagram.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. So shout out to Instagram.
Right.
Okay, so like backtrack a little bit. We are all single. It's very apparent that we're all single. And I know for me, to really help me in this time of singleness, because I haven't been doing things right. Like, I think for me, because I was so hurt, I turned to work. And now I want to be able to, take care of work, but still enjoy my single life and still progress and develop as a single woman. So my life coach actually gave me an assignment. And I'm a homebody. I like chilling at the house. I like going out to eat, but look, shout out to Uber Eats, Favor, Grubhub. That's right.
any restaurant that delivers.
Yes, that is me. But what I learned is, she's like, look, you're not gonna meet anybody sitting on your couch, And she was like, you have to go out to other places besides church and the gym to meet people. Because our church, we go to the same church, Brittany and I, and our church, it's got to be like 95% women.
And on top of that, the majority of the men that are there are really in committed relationships or married already.
Yes.
So that's not really
the
place. Yeah.
So for me, when I go to these places where people are already hooked, they're already in committed relationships, it's kind of hard for people like me who are single. So she gave me this assignment, and I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while, because I'm like, I don't go places by myself. But it helped me get out of my comfort zone to where I had to go sit at the bar and eat dinner by myself. And I have a good girlfriend who does it all the time. I'm like, Alicia, you meet, she will go to the bar, and she will meet everybody, they best friends. And I was so scared to do it, but it was liberating. I'm like, oh, I got this, And then the more I would do this, I'm like, oh, my food getting paid for it too. This
oh yes, it has benefits. It does have some perks.
And I want to learn too, with guys, it's hard for guys to approach you when you're in a big group of women. So maybe
That's true.
It's so when you're by yourself,
intimidating.
Yeah, people are willing to come up to you. So I know that's my little thing that I had to, something that I've been working on my time of singleness. What about you guys to kind of attract the right attention?
So, kind of just to piggyback off of what Tori was saying, as far as eating out or even solo traveling, I'm able to do all of that. I've been able to do that for a while, and I feel comfortable doing it. With or without people, I'm cool either way. But my issue is that I'm tired, or I'm working and I'm doing a lot of stuff and I'm ripping and running, and I actually live on the outskirts of the city. So for me to get to the places where potential people that I might want to meet, it takes a certain level of energy for me to have to get there. So I don't mind being there, but getting myself there is the issue.
I'm the same way. Once you get out of the house, you're good, but it's just that step of getting out.
Right.
What about you?
I think for me, it's a bit of an excuse, but being somewhat new, because I'm not that new in Houston, it's just a little nerve-wracking going out and just knowing where to go out and how to meet people. Like, I would love to have that organic, I'm in the cereal aisle, I grab my box of cereal, and he grabs me, and we're holding the same box, and then we're like, you like that cereal? But that's not gonna happen.
You know that happening.
Yeah.
She said we grab the cereal together.
That would be great in a Kroger or HEB aisle, but no, I have not been able to step out, and I am trying to work the courage to do that. One thing that I can say I've been doing a lot of is just, and I know that this is through work, but when they're having happy hours or get-togethers in like big public places, I do try to go. Just to kind of sort of like scope, see what's out there, and like have people see, oh, she's in a group like setting, guys and girls, like, okay, she can step away and talk, like that kind of thing, as opposed to like how I used to be when it would be like, oh, there's a group thing, oh, I don't think I'm gonna go, and I'll just like go straight home. So I've been just working on slowly getting myself out there.
I think it's a lot about being positioned.
Oh,
so you got to be ready, but you also got to be positioned. Mm-hmm. And I know, like, for people like me, I work in education. So that's not really the easiest, way to meet people, because the majority of people are going to be women and older on top of that. So I know
more seasoned.
More seasoned. Yeah. So let's just say that.
Marinated.
Right, exactly. So pretty much I'm gonna have to make myself put that as a goal of mine to get out more.
But I think my work environment is almost similar to yours in the sense that, like, we're in cubes, it's heads down, you're working, you're in your laptop, so it's like, to know who you even work with, and my company is so big that it's just hard to know, like, oh, you work here, oh, he's kind of cute, or hey, oh, like, that kind of thing you just don't really know unless you're walking in the hallway. So let
me ask y'all this, because this kind of switching gears a little bit, but this office, dating in office, and I'm gonna say it just because, and this is why I'm going there. Okay, so I'm in sales. I work in the transportation industry, so my industry is predominantly male driven, and you don't see a lot of females. And I even actually had this conversation with one of my managers at the time, because I felt like I would go to meetings, and I even had like people like send stuff to my email. I'm like, this is just crazy, It was like I had never had this attention. My boss was like, have you never had this attention before? And it's like, for me though, I think I was nervous, or I felt uncomfortable, because I don't want that kind of attention in the workplace. I want you to focus on what I'm saying and sign these contracts and bring on this business so I can get my bonus check. Like, I'm thinking money-wise, I'm just saying, like,
don't play with my money.
Don't play my money. Look, afterwards, don't play my money. And so I had to realize, because I was talking to one of my friends about it. She was like, but this is the thing, you spend how many hours at work? Like, what's wrong with dating somebody from work? But my only, I guess where I am on the fence is, when you take it's like taking your personal life to work. There's no separation there. Mm-hmm. So what's your take on it? Because like I said, she's all into, like, we spend so many hours at work. It's okay to date people from work, but
I think for me personally, I'm 100% against it. Yeah, and the reason why I am is just work already is stressful. And I mean, it's interesting. It's an actual interesting dynamic, because we recently have hired a new team member whose wife works in the same company, but she's in same practice, but in a different division of the practice. So like, they have different bosses. They don't really see each other that much. But I mean, when you're in a dynamic like that, where you don't really cross each other's paths unless if either or of you are working in the office, I guess that's not as painful, because you're in a different separate type of thing. Yeah. But I personally just, I don't think it's a great idea. if you're going through downs in your relationship, it's going to spill into your work. And I feel like, it can affect, your productivity at work. And if there's drama at work or something happens and you share something with him, depending on how protective he is, you don't know how some people are going to handle things. So for example, like when there's drama at work and say maybe a male said something inappropriate to you or a female said something inappropriate to your man, it can get really messy. And so that's what, and you just don't know, like maybe that you'll be able to handle it professionally, but maybe he might not be able to handle it professionally, or, vice versa. So I just think that when it comes to relationships and stuff like that, it's just not the best thing to do when you're in the same work environment. That's my spill on it.
And for me, personally, it's a no-go. However, I've heard plenty of stories where it's actually worked out for people. And actually in my current work environment, there are several couples. Like, it's pretty much like an environment to where everybody has their kid there, or their kid has graduated from there at some point. Or like literally they're all riding in the same car. Like, it's like, I have definitely seen it, and they have even met there and dated, and it's worked for them. But personally for me, I just feel like it can get really messy. And also, as far as being an individual, like, what will we talk about when I come home? Because we're together all the time. Like, I've literally seen it to where it's been couples, and during their conference period, they're in each other's office or classroom.
It's like, I want to miss my man.
Yeah.
Like, I want, I want that excitement that, ooh, I'm going home to my man. Let me get my stuff, as opposed to like, oh, here he is again. Hey, honey. Like, I want that excitement to be able to de-stress with you, tell you how my day went, forget about work, and then just focus on us. So,
I mean, that could be a good side to it too. Yeah. If, you just seeing that person kind of brightens up your day. Maybe your day was kind of humdrum and you see that person and y'all smile, or maybe y'all even get to have lunch together where you might have otherwise not been able to. But just for me, I would say no.
It's the lunch thing, because I dated, when I did date a guy.
It has not been that long.
Side note. When I did date a guy. No, I'm just kidding. This is making humor out of it. But I think I like the aspect that he would like bring me lunch to the office. Okay. Or during our lunch period, he was a big FaceTimer. He liked to see my face. And so during my lunch period, he like, all right, don't get to FaceTime me. And so that FaceTime was kind of like, oh, brighten my day. But for me, I like to have my space. Even though I may be in a committed relationship, I have moments where I like to be by myself and just be with music or a book. And I enjoy that me time. It's like almost imperative for me to have that me time in order for me to be able to not be, cranky or snarky with my significant other. So I think for me, having that space is so crucial. But kind of moving forward, so we are millennials, and I don't know about y'all, but a lot of my friends have met off of dating apps. Like my last 4 weddings that I've partaken in, they'll say they met at Starbucks, but the reality is it was not Starbucks, it was Bumble, and and it was Tinder at the time.
Match, Tinder.
3 of them met off Tinder, and 1 is Bumble. So, what is y'all's take on dating apps? Because for me, I have tried, I've tried Bumble.
Okay.
It's cool, but I think for me, with those dating apps, I'm busy. Right. So I'm not about to have a whole conversation with you via text. And I think people get comfortable having those get to know you conversations via text. And we can have these little chit chats, but I think it's people miss out on picking up the phone and calling you to get to know you.
I have tried it before, but at this point, it's not something that I'm interested in. But I will say it's a lot of work. It's very exhausting, like communicating with all the people and then just really trying to sort through and find somebody decent. And it's a lot of work. But I will also say, to me, it's kind of like it takes the current problem that we already have, where is a bunch of women and a handful of men to that. And I think a lot of times when people are on the dating apps, you know, guys kind of feel like, well, I'm not going to work too hard on this one because it's a billion more women on there. And I feel like it almost just amplifies the current dating problem that we already have. So it's just too easy when with the dating apps and stuff out there. Oh, I don't want to work hard on this one. I'll just swipe right on somebody else, and then here we go. Are we really building healthy, long-lasting relationships?
And two people probably focus a lot on the physical, because that's really all that you can on those apps.
Yeah.
Like, I've gone on like 2 dates. I think my problem is I talk to people and then I don't get back on for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This one just said, "Hello, are you trying to be on here for real, or are you just looking?" He just kept sending me these messages.
He's talking to himself, huh?
I'm straight talking. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
You gotta be consistent. If
You
gonna
do.
be on
He was
there.
right. He had a right to be annoyed, but it just tickled me because he was shit. I'm not responding. You keep sending messages. But
I mean, you know, I like organic relationships, and I feel like sometimes, and this is not to knock anybody that's used dating apps. I'm sure a lot of people have had great success stories. Like, I know a friend that she is a blogger. Her name is Jackie, and she met her husband on Match, I believe, and they have like 2 kids now. It's just, I don't think it's for me. I don't think that it's very organic. I think that we're all looking at it as face value.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're swiping left, you're swiping right. You're not really getting to really know the inside and the depths of the person that well. Even if you are to meet them in person, it's kind of like an interview. I think that some people also have ruined the true meaning of these dating apps, because you get those that are just looking to have a quick one night stand and just, you know, and it's like, and because of that, there are some people on that site with that type of notion, like, okay, well, if you're not going to give me, okay, well, I'll just continue on somewhere else. So to me, I don't think it's something that's for me. But I'm not knocking it down. Like I said, there could be some people who are legitimately looking for an organic relationship on the dating app, and maybe due to their hectic business or work schedule, they don't have the time to actually go out and actually like meet people in different settings, and would go in for an app instead.
And you kind of mentioned like one night stands and stuff. I have heard just in talking to guys before, and they'll tell me sometimes about like how the women have approached them, almost seeking out sex. Now, and I was kind of just blown away, because I'm like, I would never even think to come on there and really be like just trying to find somebody just for that purpose. And so it's just kind of crazy. So I feel like even if you're truly looking for love on there, a lot of times you can kind of get lost in the piles and of junk that everybody else is kind of searching through and sifting through. So and that's for male or female, their experiences.
And this, speaking of that, because you said something and it probably go down another hole, but so I dated a guy, and I'll be very frank, he's probably the most attractive guy I've ever dated. He's very tall, you know, tatted up, and every time we went somewhere, women were just always on him. And what I realized is when I wasn't in proximity of him, you know what I mean, if he's over here with the guys and I'm out, you know, over at the bar or whatever, like, women would just walk up to him, be grabbing him, and, oh, what's your name? Hey, sexy. And I'm just like, since when did women become so aggressive?
Apparently so.
And it's just like,
you know, I heard in certain areas, especially like in Atlanta, because the male to female ratio is very slim. A man could be married and he could be pushing a baby in a stroller, holding 2 babies' hands, like a baby backpack, like 4 kids, and just because a woman sees everything that he's doing for another woman, she'll just jump right on it and just disrespect whoever else that he's with.
That's crazy.
So it's getting to that point where, yes, women, I think, we are more, or those that are actually in the field of dating are a lot more than men. And so when they do see men like eye candy, they do hop on it. It's not like how it used to be back in the day where it's like, okay, is he gonna say hi to me? Is he gonna? No, it's more or less like they just.
So for that woman, and I think for us, our spiritual background, our relationship, with God helps us to stay true to who we are. But for somebody out there who is kind of like, man, I desire to have that true loving companionship, but I see that I think it was, what was it, Scandal? What was the Scandal? What's that meme they said from Scandal about the I don't want to use this word, but the HOE are winning.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you stay true to yourself and not do that when those are the ones who seem to be getting the attention these days?
I think it just depends on, is your mind ready for it? Because, like, it's one thing to be like, okay, I'm not of that, and I'm ready to look, but it's like, are you fully prepared? Because when you do come across someone that is on the same level with you, and if that person is God sent, it's gonna happen. So I think everybody, people like that think that if they put themselves out in that matter, is gonna actually connect them to someone when they're actually empty, trying to fill in some type of void.
Yeah, and then a lot of times you might be attracting a lot of attention, but you're attracting a lot of lustful attention to where that's really all they want from you.
Exactly.
And you may have this shape, and that's all they see, and that's all they want to know. They want to unwrap the package, and they just want to get, what they can get out of the situation.
Right.
And ultimately, like, if you're really, truly wanting to have a godly marriage, that's not what you want.
And even one guy that I'm friends with, he is not Christian, he's Muslim, but he said to me, he's like, listen, I've dated girls who have had their bodies done. He was like, one, it's awkward because it doesn't feel natural. He's like, and then you have to be careful because something could potentially go wrong. And he's like, a man doesn't want that. A man wants a woman that is natural. Like you.
What doctor did she go to?
I hadn't even thought about
But
that.
I think what he was saying is maybe she
went
listen, I don't know, she went to
the Cardi B doctor.
But it's like,
stuff done in
some
shopping
people,
trip.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think it was Cardi B that said she got her stuff done at the back of a club or something.
But I mean, again, like if you are a small frame woman and you don't have enough meat on you to move around and shift around and create that, you got to put other things in. So I'm assuming maybe that was her. And he was just like, listen, a natural woman. Yeah, he was like a natural woman, a woman who's all about herself, one that I know she does not wear a lot of makeup, like, because men actually really honestly go through it. When a girl washes her face, because I was going to say take off her face, but when she washes her face, it's like, we create this persona to draw people in, but like really like what's inside of you.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that painting that I always refer to. The apple is golden on the outside, but once you turn it, it's rotten inside. So what's really inside of you?
Oh, it's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Being your authentic self.
Yeah.
So, in closing, this has been fun. I feel like I really enjoyed girls' night.
Girl talk.
Yeah, good girl talk. So, what's your? We'll kind of go down the line, but what's your lasting message you want to leave with everybody that they can take away?
I would honestly say that you need to take some time, find your happiness. It's very key, and like identify areas that are stressing you out, not just someone that you're dating or seeing, friendships, everything. Reevaluate everything that you're going through in your life right now. Also just like ask for discernment, draw yourself close to God if you're Christian. If you're not Christian and you're Muslim, whatever your religion is, just find that inner peace and connect spiritually to make sure that you're balanced. And, once you're ready to date, go in without any expectations, because again, remember, when you project certain things onto a person, you're making them be what they're not. And that's what actually comes to a tragic end. So until you really fix yourself and you find your happiness and you find your spiritual ground, once you step out, you're going to attract the right type of people for you. So like that's the best advice I can try to give out.
That's good.
Yeah.
What are you, Britt?
I would say just use this time wisely. Like, one day you'll look up and you'll probably be married and have kids, and your life will look completely different. So while you're in this season, you need to really take the time to figure out who you are, what your purpose is, what you like, what you don't like, and also allow God to prune things out of you that are not supposed to be there. That could be a hindrance to you, your marriage, your children, and so on and so forth later on down the road. Because the way I look at it is, it's better to have those things pruned out of you than to get in a marriage and to have kids and then get divorced. Mm-hmm. Because you didn't spend that single time really healing on some things and working through some things.
What does Pastor say? You know what I'm saying? You know where I'm going with it.
Oh, yeah. Married people problems are single people problems.
Yes.
So basically,
unresolved single people issues.
Right.
Yes.
So you need to take the time and figure out who you are and what things you need to heal in, and just allow God to chisel those things away, prune those things out of you so you can be the best version of yourself, and in turn you'll attract the best version of that other person.
Oh yeah. I think you said a lot of what I was thinking, healing. I feel like for me this has been a season where God has uprooted some stuff that I have been carrying, and what I didn't realize is that I was projecting my pain on other people, or I was using other people to fill voids in certain areas of my life. So I think that spend time with yourself. I spent I would have to be honest, the last year and a half of really dissecting who I was, why I thought the way that I thought, and just reading a lot and listening to podcasts. And two, I'm at that phase where I'm on this uphill battle, and I think just having an accountability partner. So there are going to be moments, of course, where everything is all good, and then you may have days where you feel sad or you may feel lonely. And I just say, in those moments, find you an accountability partner where you can pick up the phone and somebody encourage you, or somebody send you a good Tony Gaskins video, to kind of uproot your spirits, and just know if you just stick the course, what your heart desires, because I truly believe that God does grant us what our heart desires. It's there for a reason. Mm-hmm. And if we just stick the course, and it's okay if you have slip-ups here and there, but just God forgive me for my mistakes and get back on it, He will give you what your heart desires. So have the right people around you. I know we did girls' nights for Valentine's. We had a good Valentine's dinner. Yeah. Me and you went to the comedy show. So do things with your friends in your time of singleness, so you're not at home by yourself, and just truly find peace and joy and happiness in this time period. Because once you're married, you've got a whole other set of responsibilities.
Right. Exactly.
You don't get this back.
And one day you'll be wishing that you had that chance for peace and quiet.
Yes.
And, to be able to move at your own pace. And if you don't feel like cooking, you don't have to, because you don't have anybody depending on you like that. So as difficult as it can be at times, when you really look at the grand scheme of things, knowing that this is temporary because God put that desire in your heart, you appreciate the time that you have now. Yeah.
So awesome. Yay! This concludes another episode of Through Our Lenses. And I want to say thank you again to Maya, to Brittany, hanging out, having a good time at Girls Night. Y'all have a good time. Take care.